Before you scroll, stop for a moment. This message is not random at all. It is meant for the person who has stayed strong for so long, stayed quiet for too long, and felt tired in ways that others do not fully understand. The kind of tired that does not just come from the body, but from carrying emotions, expectations, and silent struggles that no one ever really noticed. There is someone who does not look at you as a challenge, a prize, or just a temporary feeling. They look at you and sense something much deeper inside. They feel a strong wish to stay close, to protect you, and to ease the heavy load you carry without you needing to explain every detail. And if you have ever asked yourself whether a love like this truly exists, stay with these words, because what you are about to hear could touch a part of you that has waited a very long time to feel seen, not on the surface, but in a real and honest way. Not everyone will listen all the way through. Most people look away when the truth comes too near, especially when it asks them to reflect or feel something deeply. But if you are still here reading, that already says a lot about you. It shows that some part of your heart is still open, still aware, still willing to understand something beyond the noise of everyday life. And by the time you finish this, you may start to see your own life, your own hurts, and your own path ahead in a slightly different light, as if something hidden is slowly becoming clearer. So take a slow breath and stay until the end. The kind of love we are talking about here does not make loud noise. It does not run after attention. It does not need to prove itself through big gestures or constant words. It comes in gently, quietly, in a way that may even go unnoticed at first. But when it is real, it changes so many things in life. It changes how you feel when you wake up. It changes how you think about yourself. It changes what you believe you deserve. If you're tired of toxic relationships and want a deeper kind of truth about connection, about emotional safety, about someone who actually sees you beyond surface level, then stay with this message. This is not about fantasy. This is about emotional awareness and the human need to be understood in a real way. This person wants to be close to you, but not for shallow reasons. They are not interested in looks alone, not in status, not in what you can provide on the outside, and not because they feel empty and need someone to fill a gap. They want to stay close because something inside them feels truly moved by your heart. They notice how much you have carried on your own for so long. They sense the quiet struggles you never fully speak about. They understand the weight behind your silence. They see the brave face you show to the world. They see the steady voice you use when you speak, even when you are not feeling steady inside. They notice the way you continue moving forward, even when your energy is low and your thoughts feel heavy. And instead of stepping back from that, they feel drawn even closer. Not from pity, not from obligation, but from deep respect, from real care, and from a quiet emotional connection that grows stronger the more they truly understand you. They think about you with a serious kind of love. A love that does not need to show off. A love that does not require attention from others to feel real. It is patient, watchful, steady, and consistent in ways that are not always visible, but are deeply felt. They notice your smile, of course, but they also notice what is behind it. They notice your quiet moments when you think no one is watching. They feel the small drops in your energy when something is not right. They see the times when you say you are okay, but your eyes tell a different story entirely. And every single time they notice that, something inside them repeats the same thought. I want to be the safe place where this person can finally rest. I want to be the one who helps carry what they have been carrying alone for so long. If these words already speak to you, keep going, because it only becomes deeper from here. When they picture a life together with you, they are not thinking about perfection. They are not focused on a perfect wedding, perfect photos, or what other people might say or think. They are thinking about real life, the ordinary moments that actually make up most of life. They think about early mornings when you feel tired before the day even begins. They think about quiet nights when old memories come back without warning. They think about days full of pressure, days full of doubt, and days where even simple things feel heavier than usual. They do not avoid these moments in their mind. They include them. They imagine being there through all of it. Not just the happy times, not just the easy moments, but the hidden and difficult ones too. The moments where you feel overwhelmed. The moments where you feel like you need silence. The moments where you need someone to simply stay without asking too many questions. And in that vision, they do not see themselves as someone who fixes you. They see themselves as someone who stands with you. They picture honoring you, respecting your pace, protecting your peace, and slowly helping life feel a little less heavy. Not by taking your strength away, but by supporting it. They dream of a bond built on trust, patience, honesty, and emotional understanding that grows deeper over time, instead of rushing into something that cannot last. They do not want to stand near your life from a distance. They want to stand inside it with you. Step by step, day by day, through good times and hard times, through healing and setbacks, through hope and confusion, through everything that makes a real human connection what it is. And here is something very important. They are not trying to save you as if you are broken. They do not see you that way at all. What they see is your strength. They see your ability to keep going even when things are not easy. They see someone who has managed to keep a soft heart in a world that has not always been kind to it. That truth moves them more than they can easily explain. It is not something loud. It is something quiet and deep. Something that builds over time instead of disappearing quickly. So if you have ever felt unseen, stay right here. This part is important. They see more than your outside appearance. They see the hidden weight you carry behind your calm face. They see the part of you that wakes up in the middle of the night, thinking about things you do not talk about. They see the side of you that has learned to smile even while holding disappointment, sadness, and emotional exhaustion inside. They notice how often you give more than you receive, how often you listen more than you speak, how often you make space for others while quietly asking very little for yourself. And what they feel when they see all of this is not fear, not judgment, and not distance. It is devotion. It is care. It is a strong desire to be close in a real and stable way, to share the weight, to make life feel less heavy in both practical and emotional ways, to become a place where your heart does not need to stay guarded all the time. Because what people need most is not constant praise or empty words. What people need most is to feel truly seen. Not just the version they show to survive, but the real version underneath it all. The tired version, the healing version, the hopeful version, the confused version, the human version. And this person feels drawn to all of it, not just one part. That is why this love feels different in their mind. It looks past the surface and chooses the full person. They do not want to own you. They do not want to control you. They do not want to turn your love into something that benefits only them. They are not trying to turn you into an achievement or a trophy in their life. What they want is simpler and deeper than that. They want to care for you. They want to protect the soft parts of you that do not always get protection. They want to help you carry what you have been carrying alone for so long, without making you feel weak for having those burdens. Their love is not rushed. It is not chaotic. It is not unstable. It moves with intention. It understands that healing takes time, that trust builds slowly, that emotional wounds do not disappear overnight. So they are willing to stay. They are willing to be patient. They are willing to show up again and again until actions speak louder than words ever could. And notice this, because it matters. They do not want to take away your independence. They are not afraid of your strength. In fact, your strength is part of what draws them in even more. They admire how you survived. They admire how you kept your heart open despite everything. They admire your courage to still believe in connection after disappointment. That is why their love is not competition. It is not control. It is not about being above you or below you. It is about walking beside you, adding to your strength, not replacing it. They want to stand next to your strength, not over it. And if you have ever experienced love that made you feel smaller, you already understand how different this feeling is. This person pays attention in a way most others do not. Many people only notice actions. They react to what is obvious. But this person notices energy. They notice silence. They notice pauses in your voice. They notice when your presence shifts even slightly. They notice what you do not say just as much as what you do say. And instead of demanding answers immediately, they stay calm. They stay present. They let their presence speak first, before pressure ever enters the space. That is part of what makes this kind of love feel healing. It does not only respond to behavior, it responds to emotion. It responds to humanity. When love only reacts to actions, it becomes conditional. It grows when things are easy and fades when things become difficult. But when love responds to feeling, it becomes steady. It becomes safe. It becomes something you can trust. It says you matter here, not because everything is perfect, but because you exist as you are. And this is where many people begin to understand why certain relationships never felt safe before. Because they were never based on emotional understanding, only on surface-level connection. This person has likely known pain too. They understand that people who carry heavy emotional loads do not always need advice. Sometimes they need silence. Sometimes they need presence. Sometimes they need someone who can sit beside them without trying to fix everything immediately. And that is what they want to be for you as well. They imagine a relationship where both joy and sadness are shared openly, not hidden, not avoided. A relationship where laughter and healing exist together, where difficult days do not break the bond, but instead deepen it. A part of you still hopes that someone could want to marry you, not to control you, not to confuse you, but because they genuinely care about your heart. They imagine a future with you that feels calm instead of chaotic. A future without mixed signals, without emotional guessing games, without the constant feeling that something might suddenly go wrong. They see something steady, grounded, and real. They think about ordinary days with you, and somehow those ordinary moments feel meaningful to them. Simple things like coffee already made in the morning, quiet check-ins after long days, a hand resting gently on your shoulder when your thoughts become too heavy. The kind of silence that does not feel empty or uncertain, but warm and safe. The kind of home where your nervous system finally starts to relax, because love no longer feels like it could disappear at any moment. They do not just want excitement with you. They want to solve problems with you instead of fighting against you. They want to build routines that make both of you feel secure. They are not only thinking about special moments, but about everyday life. Because real love is not only about highlights. Surface-level love gets excited by big moments, but deeper love is focused on the ordinary ones. It asks simple questions like, how can I make this person's life easier? How can I protect their peace? How can I be someone they do not need to constantly question? That is the kind of future they see with you. Stable, loyal, calm, still full of feeling, but deeply rooted. And if you are still here, part of you probably understands that stability is not boring. Stability is what allows a tired heart to finally breathe. They can sense that much of your pain did not come from one single moment. It came from being misunderstood repeatedly, from giving deeply and receiving very little in return, from staying loyal while others stayed unsure, from hoping someone would finally choose you fully, clearly, without confusion, only to be met with distance or changing behavior. They understand how exhausting that is. They see how it trained you to expect disappointment, how it made you hold back a little, how it made you keep part of yourself guarded just in case things fell apart again. They understand why you became careful, why you do not always say what you need directly, why trust feels expensive, why even when you want love, fully being chosen still feels hard to believe. And instead of judging those protective parts of you, they approach them with patience. They are not asking you to become easier to handle. They are asking to love you in a way that is consistent, in a way that matches actions with words, in a way that removes confusion instead of creating it. They do not want you lying awake wondering where you stand. They do not want you shrinking yourself to keep peace. They do not want your heart going through another experience of being left behind. They want to love you in a way that slowly teaches your body something different, that closeness can be calm, that consistency can exist, that love can stay. At some point, this kind of love also asks something from you. Not suddenly, not under pressure, not with demands. But slowly, it asks you to let it in. Not only the strong version of yourself that handles everything alone, but also the softer version. The one that is still healing. The one that still gets scared. The one that still expects love to leave right when it starts to feel safe. This kind of love will be patient, but it will gently challenge the habit of preparing for abandonment. Because pain teaches people to do that. Pain teaches you to expect loss, even while something good is happening. It teaches you to stay guarded, to only give part of yourself, to keep emotional distance as protection. But the person who truly cares about you is not preparing to leave. They are preparing to stay. And that difference changes everything. It changes how your body feels around them. It changes what silence means. It changes what a quiet evening feels like. It changes how your mind rests when there is no confusion in the connection. It changes how safe you feel when someone's presence is consistent and not unpredictable. For someone who has spent years in emotional survival mode, safe love can feel unfamiliar at first. It can even feel strange. But strange does not always mean wrong. Sometimes it simply means new. And new can be the beginning of healing. Real healing often does not happen in isolation. It happens inside safe connection. Inside relationships where you are seen without being judged, supported without being controlled, and cared for without being managed. That is the kind of presence this person wants to offer. Not a perfect life without problems, but a real one with steady care, honest communication, and emotional reliability. They want to know all parts of you, your past, your fears, your private strengths, your quiet habits when you are tired, your silence when things feel overwhelming, and the version of you that appears when you finally feel safe enough to stop pretending. And instead of pulling away from any of it, they move closer with understanding. Their love is quiet, but not weak. It is steady like roots. It does not need to prove itself loudly. It shows itself in consistency, in presence, in repeated actions over time. It is the kind of love that remembers what drains you, that checks on you without being asked, that notices when you are tired before you even say it, that protects your peace in small, everyday ways. These things may seem small, but they are not small to someone who has carried too much for too long. That is why this kind of love feels life-changing, not because it is dramatic, but because it is dependable. Dependability is rare, and rare things are often the most meaningful. They are drawn to your strength, not to challenge it, but because it tells the story of what you have survived. They know you have carried burdens quietly. They know you have kept going even when it was hard. They know there were times you held yourself together with pure effort. And they do not want to add more weight to your life. They want to reduce it. They want your home with them to feel like relief. They want rest to feel normal, not something you only earn after exhaustion. They want to notice when you are tired without you needing to explain it. They want to share responsibility without resentment. They want to support you in practical ways that make life lighter, not more complicated. This is not performative love. This is lived love. Love shown through consistent action, not just words. They also understand that vulnerability is not weakness. They know that allowing someone close is one of the hardest and bravest things a person can do. And they want to be someone worthy of that trust, not occasionally, but consistently. If something in this feels familiar, it is not random. Sometimes the mind recognizes emotional truth before it can explain it. And when that happens, it can create a strong internal reaction, because it touches old experiences and old patterns of expectation. They imagine marriage not as a single event, but as a life built in small, daily moments. Waking up next to each other in quiet mornings, holding each other when old emotional pain returns unexpectedly, being a steady voice when thoughts become too loud, being a calm presence when life feels heavy. They see ordinary moments as meaningful, a shared look across the room that silently communicates safety, a home that feels peaceful instead of tense, a relationship that does not disappear when life becomes difficult. They want to be the reason your body slowly learns to relax, the reason your breathing becomes softer, the reason you stop expecting disappointment as the default outcome. Not because life becomes perfect, but because it becomes consistent, because presence becomes reliable, because care becomes steady. This kind of love is rare because it requires emotional maturity. It requires patience. It requires choosing peace over control and presence over performance. But rare does not mean impossible. It simply means valuable. It means worth recognizing and not overlooking. For someone who has been through emotional confusion, the idea of stable love can feel almost too simple at first. But simplicity is not lack of depth. Sometimes, simplicity is what safety feels like. No constant decoding, no emotional uncertainty, no guessing where you stand. You are not too much to love. You are not too complicated to understand. You are not invisible. The kind of love that is right for you does not come with chaos or constant uncertainty. It comes with patience, with steadiness, with repeated choosing, day after day, not only in words but in actions. And in that kind of connection, you do not have to shrink yourself. You do not have to perform to be kept. You do not have to earn consistency through exhaustion. You are allowed to simply exist and still be chosen. That kind of love does not erase your past, but it changes how much power your past has over your present. It does not rush your healing, but it walks beside it. It does not demand perfection, but it offers presence. And maybe that is what has always been needed most. Not intensity, not confusion, just something steady enough to feel safe in.